starting now.
What up?
Here we go. And uno más for the podcast. Podcast going live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of
Business Bros.
Whoa, I got a little
Wow.
funky voice on that
Yeah,
one.
did you just go through puberty all of
Right?
a
It
sudden?
did.
Woo.
Congrats, man.
Thanks.
Congrats.
It's finally here.
We're here to witness that.
Only
Yeah,
took
yeah,
36 years.
Awesome. I'm still going through puberty now. I'm 42.
See? It never ends.
Never
it never
stops.
ends.
Never stops, baby.
Yeah.
Always growing.
Always growing.
Always growing. That's
right?
right.
Sometimes wide, sometimes tall.
True.
But hey, whatever.
All right,
Whatever
so,
works.
We're on Facebook Live, and of course, immediately we get a comment from none other than your lovely wife.
Oh.
She says, "Nice shades."
Thanks. So, I almost called him Magic Mike. You hear that? I almost called him Magic Mike.
we have-
Mortgage Mike.
That's right.
Mortgage Mike.
Thank
Mortgage
you.
Mike
Thank
brought
you.
us some swag, right?
Yeah,
did. We
So
did.
what do we call
lovely.
it? What do we call the swag?
So they're not Ray Bans, but we kind of call them Ray J's.
Ray J's.
Ray
So we
J's.
got the Ray J's on.
Yes. Thank you, Prime Lending, for the Ray J's. I appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Prime
Absolutely.
Lending. Thank you, Mortgage Mike.
Cool.
Yes.
So Mortgage Mike we met on Facebook,
We did.
right? We
Yes,
met
sir.
on Facebook, and I've been checking out your Facebook feed, and you just had an out-of-state experience.
I did, sir. I did. I just came back from my third sales rally with Prime Lending. This is our national conference where all 1,100 other Prime Lending loan officers get together from all 50 states. And we come together, we celebrate, we talk about 2018's accomplishments, and then leadership team gets on stage and just obviously gets us all pumped up and ramped up for 2019. We had a special guest on the stage. It was Mr. Damon from Shark Tank.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
It's always
yes.
good to have some celebrity guests.
Exactly. So he brought some good, some great nuggets about entrepreneurship, building the business, doing it the right way. So obviously, a lot of us are still pumped up from that event. But you can go to those events, get pumped up, but you got to take action.
Yeah, you still got to actually do some
You got to
stuff,
do
right?
things. Yeah, exactly. So I'm a little tired, but hey, man, like I was telling our colleague over here earlier, I'll sleep later, man.
Exactly.
Sleep later.
You're dead for a very long time. You live for a very short time.
Exactly.
You ain't got time to sleep. You
That's-
sleep that off later.
That's
time.
why we have these shades. you
Yeah,
know?
nobody can see that your eyes are drooping, right?
Exactly.
You're still out here working. Put a smile
Yeah.
on your face, put the
Eyes
shades
red.
on, and you're ready to rock
We're
and
ready to
roll.
rock and roll, guys. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome, dude. So let me ask you, because we love to have origin stories. We want to know, a little bit about you. I mean, where did you come from? You didn't just, you didn't come out the womb and that's it. You're doing mortgages, right? Where'd you come from?
Exactly, man. Well, shout out to mom and dad. Mom and dad, if you're watching this, because you're all over the Facebook, I love you guys. So, mom and dad. Where'd I come from? Born and raised, pretty much raised in California, but born in Hawaii. My father came here back in '75, enlisted in the military, so I do have a military background in terms of grew up in a military family setting. Pretty much traveled the world from Hawaii, Texas, Washington, overseas as well too. But San Diego's been a home base since 1986. So father actually retired here from 32nd Street and then up to Miramar, closed it down, and now it's a Marine base.
Yeah.
So just, traveled around the world, but in terms of home base, it's been home base since obviously the late 80s. Grew up in Marin Mesa, so shout out to Marin Mesa. Yes, shout out to my Marauders out there, class of 96.
Woo.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna-
you're starting to age yourself
I'm
here,
aging
buddy.
myself.
You're aging yourself.
But, be proud, right? Be proud. So I've been very fortunate to be raised by good parents. I have 2 siblings, my sisters, Michelle and Marjorie. I'm the youngest out of 3 siblings. And, those 2 went to college, did their thing. But their big brother here stayed focused. And what I mean by that is just building relationships right after college and staying in the banking industry. I got my first opportunity to be in banking, working for a credit union, North Island Credit Union. Shout out to North Island Credit Union for all the support, and also USA Federal Credit Union. So got in the mortgage industry around 2002. Shout out to Edgar Aranda. He was my manager back in the day.
So credit unions. So
Yes, credit
So
union.
many shout outs, too.
right, yeah, no,
I
I
love
love
it.
the shout outs.
You got to give shout outs to people that brought you here today.
Credit union. So we're kind of groupies of this other podcast called
Okay.
The Brainy Biz.
All right.
Speaking of shout outs, right? Melina Palmer.
Right.
But she's done a lot of work with the marketing copy at credit unions. So I don't know if you're familiar with her.
No, I'm missing out.
Oh, dude, she's like
I'm missing out.
spearheading behavioral economics,
Okay.
like why people buy.
Right.
And she has this podcast, and her podcast is I mean, ours is fun. We get to talk and learn about stuff, you know, and,
Yeah.
and interact with people.
Hey, hers is fun too.
But hers is very educational.
Super educational.
She's like super well versed in all this stuff, and she spends a lot of time on each podcast.
Okay.
So I figured if you were in the
Credit union
in
space?
the credit union space, maybe you heard of her or
Yeah.
not. But
I have not, but I'm learning
now
something
you got to
today.
check it out. Now you gotta check it out.
I'll definitely do that.
The Brainy Biz.
Okay.
So
Shout
this
out.
is the episode of
She
shout outs.
Yeah, she always loves when people recommend her podcast too. So we'll let her know to listen to this episode.
for
and,
sure.
There's your plug.
There you go.
There's your
Yes.
plug.
There
All
you
right,
go.
so back to your credit union space.
Yeah, so the credit union space started off as a teller, a part-time teller while attending college. Just kind of moved my way up, made relationships with the management team at the credit union, and they saw something very special in me. Just a young,
Driven.
driven Filipino American. Shout out to the Filipinos in San Diego.
Yeah, there's only a little bit, right?
I'm in National City, man.
They're all over,
yeah,
brother.
We're all over the place, man. But obviously, just hardworking, and that stems from my parents as well, too. Definitely be humble and just work hard, and people will recognize that. So from there, just started as a loan processor part-time, and then just moved my way up in the ranks. And around 2002 is when I realized it's time for me to leave the banking industry and just start to build my business. I was maybe 25, 26 at the time, and I met a good guy named Edgar Aranda. If you're watching this, my friend, he's a manager at another mortgage company now, but he's helped me get into the industry back in the day. And then from there on, here we are, 2019. So I've been in the industry in mortgage banking for over 15 years now.
See, so you got a
Yeah.
little bit of background in it, right? So you're
Yeah.
semi-knowledgeable.
I try my best. I'm still learning. We're still sharpening the mortgage sword,
Yeah. So why prime lending? How'd you get into that space?
Absolutely. So shout out to Nick Harris. Here's another shout out, guys.
It's cool.
Nick Harris, if you're watching this, man.
Hey, so here's the thing though. Every shout out you give now, when you get the content, when you're gonna go share the live feed,
There you go.
now you got to tag all of them. So you're giving yourself more work, but it's okay. We don't mind.
There's a purpose. There's a purpose. Prime lending. So prime lending was actually introduced to me back in, let's say, early 2015. Nick Harris was the production manager at the time, and we just kept in touch. I was working for a credit union in Rancho Penasquitos and doing my thing, building relationships, and he saw something in me. And I just respect the fact that he just kept in touch with me, because at the end of the day, we're all doing this for our family, right? Helping each other out, getting people into homes, helping them achieve the American dream. He saw that in me. So prime lending, I got on board around late October. And it was just a good fit, had the opportunity to meet the vice president, Yuli Kim, Mike Roddy, who's our branch manager now. And I really love the fact that they're all about the culture. They weren't selling, hey, we do these products, we have these best rates. For me, it's rate is rate,
Yes, yes.
But if you're not happy with the people you're surrounded with, you can't succeed.
No, absolutely.
That's huge.
Absolutely.
It's a people-driven company.
And in speaking of, people, for example, like I one of the things I saw when scrolling through your Facebook feed, by the way, is how I am a little bit of a Facebook stalker. I have to, right? Got to do a little bit of research.
Yes.
So I was going through there, and I like how you did, everything that people are going through, like right now with the government shutdown.
Thank you.
And so you had that video on,
Yeah.
hey, day 29, right? And
Yes, sir.
But what I'd admired about it was it wasn't really political, yet you're taking advantage of what's going on in the market today to grab the attention. People want to know stuff about that.
Yeah.
People want to know, like personally, I don't pay too much attention to, I've decided to be kind of media free. So I've unplugged from, TVC.
But it's hard. It's hard to ignore it because it's not just on the TV now. It's on social media.
Well, the
Yeah.
problem, but see, I like to personally, and I actually learned this a lot from Gary Vee.
Yes.
So I'm starting to get to know what's going on through people's comments,
Absolutely.
through people's posts.
Right.
And it to me, it's a different perspective than if I see it on TV. TV is a completely different point
Right.
of view
Right.
than what people are going through, because what people are going through is completely different. And so when you were posting that, when you posted that and you're like, hey, it's government, shut down day 29.
Day 29, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're still there.
We're
and
still
it's
there.
like a week later. So we are in day like 35, 36.
Right, exactly. So yeah, you left a comment too, being relevant. And, at the end of the day, I don't want to use my post, my social media post thinking I'm just all about mortgages and selling mortgages. That's not what it's all about. I really wanted to just let people know that, hey, I'm not ignoring what's going on out there.
Yeah.
And just finding a way to let people know there is a solution for the time being.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of those tips that I provided are definitely real tips. And personal DMs came through the other day, and hey, that was a great video. Please share it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because
Thank you.
in case anybody didn't see it, You know, what types of things do you think we should be doing, or that those people can be doing? Because there's a lot of federal employees, and it's not just the federal employees. Sure, the federal employees are being hurt by this, but there's also other people who are in related industries that are surrounding. Like, for example, if you have a government contract and you're not a federal employee, but you're working for a company that has a federal contract, all of a sudden your funding's drying up for the work that you had.
Yeah.
So there's all these ancillary companies that are around
affected by the situation.
Yes, so you know, and they have mortgages to pay, they have credit card bills, they have auto bills to pay, they have all these different things.
Right.
What should we be doing about that?
You know, and to kind of go back to what you're saying too, I mean, people, not just with the federal government, right, they're affected employees, but even local restaurants, you know, retail shops, people that go out and have lunch at these local restaurants are all being affected by it as well too. So I think really people know that this is a nationwide situation that we're going through. So for a lot of those employees right now, I think they're going on their second paycheck with no paycheck, actually, second month, no paycheck. So it's insane. I think really communicate. And that was my biggest message on Facebook, is communicate with those creditors, or, you know, your landlord, let them know what's going on and try to find a solution, because you can't ignore it. We all need to pay our bills. Yeah. And hopefully, you know. No,
I love the fact that, I mean, that was the main message, was communicate.
Yes.
I teach at Eastlake High in the mornings, right?
That's right. Yes.
And so when we talk about, you know, credit and credit cards and all those different things, one of those things that I always make sure that I emphasize to them is, you can call your credit card agency. You can call and ask for a rate decrease. You can call and ask for a credit line increase. You can call and ask for deferments. Yeah. The worst they can say is no.
Right.
But you have the opportunity to ask for these things.
Exactly.
Because they want to keep your business. Once you miss a payment, once you get past the deadline, it's much harder to get things working in your favor than it is if you are proactive in it.
Right.
And, you know, and when you were talking about that, I mean, that's one of those things that it just makes sense. Like, get out there and ask the questions. Don't wait till it's too late.
Reach out, you know, raise your hand, right? I need help. This is what's going on. Take a look at my history with you guys, you know, creditors or car payments. Take a look at my past history. I've been making my payments consistently for 3 years, but right now in this situation, I just can't make my payments. And creditors want that. They don't want you to have to be delinquent, you know?
No.
They don't want that conversation. So that's why I really made it key for people, you know, don't be ashamed of what's going on. You know, pick up the phone, communicate, and find a solution.
And you're not the only one.
No,
there are a lot of companies that are helping out too. In the insurance industry, we're seeing a lot of insurance carriers sending us letters, and they're saying, hey, listen, if your insureds, if your clients are affected by the government shutdown, we have a special division, you know, have them give us a call. We're making exceptions for their billing, et cetera, and so on. So for those of you listening, if you're in that situation, you're not 100% out of luck. Companies are reaching out. They understand, and they're here to help.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thank you.
And it's tough all the way around. I mean, because it affects the wallet, it affects the emotions.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's difficult a lot of times for people to take the politics out of the family structure, the family budget. And so people get into these heated conversations.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be about that. It could be what we want to do, and message we want to send out is focus on the solution. We want to help you find it's a patch. This will pass.
Yep.
The only thing is that it will pass with time. And in the meantime, we know you have problems.
Yeah.
We know you have issues. We know you need revenue. We know you need deferment. Reach out.
Yeah. Reach out. You're not alone. Remember, you're not alone. There's millions of other people out there that are in the same situation as you right now too. And I read an article the other day too that, and this is powerful. I think there were like over 20 or 40 local restaurants locally, like in different cities, including San Diego, where they're helping out these federal employees, and the restaurants are stepping up and providing meals and food. So that's amazing. So, you know, it's not just, it's hitting everybody at home here in the U.S. So for those of you who are affected by it, please pick up the phone. I'm praying for you guys. We're all praying for you, and hopefully these guys up there will find a solution.
Yeah, hopefully.
Fast.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of their job. So
exactly.
they got to do something eventually at some point.
Totally.
Both sides got to get to the table and like figure something out.
Thank you. Yeah, American citizens are being affected every day. So yeah, please make a decision, you guys. We're praying for you.
Awesome. All right. So tell me what else is going on in the market these days. I mean, There's a lot of talk about things shifting. We're heading into a buyer's market. And when I talk to real estate agents, a lot of people are nervous about a shift.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some people who are like, heck yeah, here comes the change. What about on the lending side? How do you guys feel about the shift in the market?
Obviously refinance applications are low right now. There's no doubt about that, with all the mortgage rates increasing 4 or 5 times last year, 2018. Mm-hmm. So right now, I've always been focused on the purchase business side of things. For me, refinances comes with past clients for me. So I'm positioned to just continue to educate. That's my whole goal for 2019, is to get out there with my partners, my real estate partners, and just educate about rent versus owning. Mm-hmm. The true benefits, because you and I all know, you're a homeowner. It's a gorgeous house here, by the way, guys.
Thank you.
It's all about the numbers. I try to tell people, don't get so caught up with what's going on with the media. How is your financial situation at home?
Right.
How is your economy at home right now? Are you doing well with your credit card debt? Are you keeping up with those payments? Are you overspending? And if you're paying rent and you've been paying rent on time, then you already have that discipline. You have that discipline to perhaps become a homeowner. It just has to come from within. And that's when I come out and coach these first-time buyers, and sit down with them, say, this is the budget. I want to put you in a situation where you're comfortable. I don't want you being stuck eating top ramen.
Right.
Spam and eggs. Nothing wrong with spam and eggs. I grew up eating spam and eggs.
Spam-a-subi, man.
Yes, sir.
I got all kinds of kids every day
top
eating
ramen.
Spam-a-subi.
But you can own a piece of the American dream, and thank goodness Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Prime Lending, there's some amazing programs out there. Even down payment assistance that people just don't know about. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's my job and my duty to share the information to people, and that's why I love to use my social media as a platform. And shout out to you guys for this podcast. I didn't know what to expect. Never done a podcast, but then
it's fun, right?
Yeah, it's fun. This is pretty cool. I feel like I'm in a DJ booth, so this is fun, guys. But in terms of purchasing, and you want to make sure that you're positioned, right? So I tell realtors to make sure that before you go out there and start showing homes, be sure that your client is positioned in a place where they understand their purchase power.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I get that question all the time. I have people who ask me all the time, like, hey, I'm interested in buying a home. Can you give me information on this property? Can you give me information on that property? And it's almost the same thing. I'm like, look, I'll get you basic information.
Right.
But it's got to go both ways. If I'm going to give you a couple pieces of paper that have information that you're looking for, great. Mm-hmm. I need you to also get some pieces of paper on your end.
Boom.
Because I can't really show you anything. I can show you every single house on the market.
Right.
But does it matter?
Yeah.
If you're not qualified to actually write a contract, mm-hmm. I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
Right.
And you say it in a nice way. You mean, it's meaningful what you're telling them, because they do get excited.
Yes. And I want them to get excited.
Absolutely.
But I also am kind of dropping a little bit, right? I can't spend all my time doing research for you. Yeah. It's not like unlimited HGTV time, right?
Exactly.
So
yeah. So, for my realtors out there, and you guys all get it. I know we got clients that get super excited. They want to see homes. They want to go to open houses. But I feel like it's their job and their duty to really sit them down and say, listen, I want to show those properties to you, but please get plugged in with a loan officer.
Yeah, let me help you. Yeah. You need a couple years tax returns.
2 years.
You need a couple months statements.
Yes, sir.
2 months. Statements, yep. Right? You need a couple pay stubs.
2 months.
And maybe a W-2 or 2.
You got it.
And
wow.
You get that.
This guy's doing my job right now. I love it.
That's all I need, right? Get that stuff. But guess what? It's tax season right now.
It is.
So you're already digging into the file.
Yeah, you're getting all your receipts right now.
You're getting everything ready. So you just go to the folder 1 year before.
Yes.
And pull that stuff.
That's it.
And you're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And here's the best part about tax season, by the way, if you're asking me. They're about to get refunds. Mm-hmm. Guess what that can go towards?
Boom. We're talking about down payment, baby.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Closing costs.
Now, I got a government shutdown. IRS doesn't open until January 28th.
Right.
They're not sending out refunds till after February 15th. That's the last I've checked. That's mm-hmm. the last I've heard. So if you're getting your stuff situated now, you can talk to a real estate agent. You can get all those documents squared away.
Yep.
You have them ready for tax season. Step 1, right?
Correct.
You get them pre-qualified for a home loan. Mm-hmm. And you know what your refund's going to be. By March, you might be able to set a contract in.
Absolutely. Just like that.
You can be a homeowner before tax season ends, before April 15th.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned earlier too, buyer's market. Inventory, I know inventory has definitely risen, from third quarter to fourth quarter, and mm-hmm. some of those properties are still on the market right now. So buyers right now, guys, if you're listening, if you're a buyer, you have options today. I remember 2016, 2017, I felt like buyers were just rush into.
You had no options.
Oh man,
Something's wrong with the property. Tough. Take it or leave
yes.
it. I got 3 offers waiting.
Yeah, waiving contingencies, things that appraisal contingencies, and I felt like buyers were just being pushed to buy these properties. But now, as a buyer, if you're watching, listen, you guys have options. And as a loan officer, I'm not here to rush you. I cannot rush you to buy a house. You have to feel super good, super confident, and be proud of that transaction.
So,
Yes, sir.
buyers out there,
Listening.
all I'm saying is you got your docs already.
Yep,
You can get pre-qualified.
for free.
You can get your refund in order so you can put some down payment. And let's say it's not enough. You can request credits from the seller. And let's add to that, there's some buyer assistance programs.
There's DPA programs out there. State of California loves helping renters become homeowners. They're out there. You just have to connect with the right lender. Mortgage Mike. And he...
You can say a little louder.
Yeah,
It's your
Mortgage
episode.
Mike.
It's your episode.
Yeah, exactly. So, find out what's out there, educate yourself. You can't always trust what's online, sorry to say, but it's really smart to dig in with a professional that's been in the industry and take a look at the loan officers, testimonials. That's huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So look, I also got, here's a kind of, making sure you play by the rules type thing.
I'm listening.
So, as a real estate agent, we always have people who come up and say, hey, where are mortgage rates at?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of hard for me, the real estate agent.
Consumers asking you those questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Clients come up and ask that
Isn't that
question,
strange?
right?
They don't ask me that. They ask my realtors that.
They ask the realtors that.
Right.
Well, because it's kind of like, a tax person, right? You
Sure.
go up and you ask a tax person pretty much anything related to money, which doesn't always meet their license, but you just assume it is.
Yeah.
So you assume the realtor knows everything that it has to do about real estate, including mortgages. They
right.
don't know there's a separation between the two.
Yep.
And so, I have a hard time telling people where mortgage rates at. Well, I mean, they're between 4 and 5-ish%, but even that's not necessarily true because you can have VAs that are lower than that. You can have horrible credit that makes it higher than that.
Right.
There's so many different variables and so many different factors that go into calculating a rate. What advice would you give to a realtor that is struggling with that from clients? Like how do they answer that question, without actually giving
right and getting?
I don't want to get in trouble and say the wrong thing. You know what I mean?
You have to protect yourself, protect your clients, and that's even me when people come to me about tax questions. I go, I'm not a CPA. I put that out. I'm not a CPA, but please consult with your CPA, H&R Block professional. But I like how the fact you threw it back out there earlier about rates because you provided a range.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. As a mortgage professional, I get that question all the time. What are today's rates? Well, how much are you putting down?
Yeah.
What type of loan are we talking about? Are we talking FHA? VA you mentioned earlier is a down payment assistance. So there's so many variables associated with mortgage pricing, mortgage rates, and at the end of the day, it's like, well, I'll give you some scenarios, but here's a range. And keep in mind, interest rates change on a daily basis, just like the stock market. And they need to understand that. If I quoted you a rate last week,
they actually move with the stock market, right?
Every day,
almost opposite too.
Pretty much,
right?
Yep.
But they do move.
They do move, just like the weather changes every day. And I tell clients, it's important to understand there's going to be a range today.
To the hour, to the minute.
I've had rate pricing changes twice a day.
Yeah.
So it's important that they understand that too. If they find a property that they like, that as their mortgage professional, we secure that rate for them as soon as possible.
Yeah, you need to lock it in.
Lock it in, exactly. And to note that, Prime Lending is one of the few lenders. This is my plug for Prime Lending. We have this program or this option. I like to say it's called a float down option, where if a client locks in at, for example, 4.75, and the market improves 2 weeks while they're in escrow, and now their rate's 4.5%. We have the opportunity to float that rate down to the new market rate, so now the client can take advantage of that new rate.
Benefit from the quarter rate.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Drop. Yeah, I mean, but a quarter rate doesn't sound like a lot.
Doesn't sound
right? Especially to the client. Well, what's the difference between 4.5 and 4.25?
Right.
It could be hundreds of dollars.
Absolutely, long term.
And long term, it could be more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think for most buyers, they're pretty savvy. If they can take a 4.5 versus a 4.7,
yes,
lock me in. Lock me in, Mortgage Mike, and it's free. We don't charge them for that. We would protect their lock for them too.
Nice.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
No, so let's see. We talked about the mortgage crisis. I mean, the federal funding crisis.
Yeah, the government shutdown. Yes.
We talked about some credits.
Yes.
We talked about the market where it's going.
Correct.
We even talked about. Oh no! You know what I wanted to ask you about Texas?
Yes.
What was the weather like? I went because so every quarter I go to Texas. Well, I've done so far with our agency, so the owners get together. But
Nice.
I go to Austin, Texas.
Okay.
The last time I was there, it was like 37 degrees,
know,
dude. It was cold.
I did not prepare.
You went as a San Diego boy?
Yeah, I went in with flip flops and socks, baby. But 32 degrees, man. 32 degrees. I left 70 degrees to go to 30 degrees. As soon as I jumped out, left the airplane, got out of the airport, I was like, I'm in Texas. No snow, 30 degrees. So as a Filipino guy, I'm a tropical guy.
Yeah. Well, you said born in Hawaii,
Born in
raised in San
Hawaii. You
Diego.
know, so shout out to my Hawaiians out there, my family. But you know, the skin started to crack, man. So skin started to crack. So luckily, I brought some of that lotion. Shout out to my wife for the lotion.
Oh, you know what? You didn't even tell the wife, by the way. I'm still working.
I'm still working. I'm right here. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was fun. I mean, the Texans are awesome people. I'm sure you know.
Oh, they're amazing.
So hospitable.
Yeah.
You
Very
know,
hospitable.
Weather was a little cray, but I'm back here in town, so.
All right.
survived.
What's the next big plans for Mortgage Mike? I mean, it's January, so we still got
Yes.
11 months of the year pretty much coming around the corner.
We do. We're just getting started, guys. I mean, man, I started my goal settings, I would say late November. I don't wait till last minute. I started everything in November, and now it's just been rolling in, building new relationships. Shout out to ARIA, which is a nonprofit organization. And what they do is they help API, which stands for American Pacific Islanders, learn more about home ownership, diversity, and helping them establish home ownership here in the U.S. And they're a nationwide nonprofit. So what we've been doing is just educating. We have some workshops coming up, actually in March. Workshop coming up for our veterans, for our VA active duty personnel. Actually, going to take place here in National City. So,
nice.
yeah, be on the lookout for that. As I mentioned earlier, this year for me is more about knowledge, education, and just helping renters become homeowners and earn a piece of the American pie.
Yeah, man, because it's a cultural thing. There's a lot of times that you aspire to get from point A to point B.
Yes.
And people do get from point A to point B, but they think that that's the cap, that's the milestone. I've made it. I'm done. They don't always know that they are on the cusp of taking it to another level.
Right.
That they can even take it to another level.
Yes.
They think they've only gotten to where they are.
Mm-hmm.
What's next, right?
Yeah, exactly. We teach them about getting into a home, building equity, investing, obviously long-term wise. And, you know, like I said, there's a lot of clients out there, people out there that just don't know where to get the information from, or even, you know, people who to trust. I mean, 10 years ago, we had that mortgage crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And there are still people to this day leery about owning because of what happened to
Well,
them.
you're one of the few people that we talked to that actually went through
Yeah.
the mortgage crisis.
I went through that. My wife, family, and I. You know, at the time, I was a wholesale account executive for a New York company, giant.
Oh, I'm scared.
Bear Stearns. So shout out to Bear Stearns. But they were one of the
R.I.P.
Yeah, man. Bear Stearns. So at the time, I was a wholesale account executive, and my clients were brokers. We were providing, you know, financing for mortgage brokers, the option arm program as well too. So when that whole meltdown went down, and they closed, you know, they did not get TARP money.
No,
They did not survive. And
they had a bullseye on them.
They did. They did it to themselves. And
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
how did you survive that? I'm curious about that time. What happened in Mike's life? That
oh man.
Look, there's a lot of people who were around then that
Yeah.
aren't around now, and I don't mean like life-wise because
No,
they're still
no.
alive. It's just that they're not in the industry.
They're no
anymore.
longer in the industry. And you know, when I started in this industry, a lot of my friends, we got in together. You know, we got in together, started the industry together, and for the most part, it stems to family. You know, my wife and I, we toughed it out, man. We toughed it out. We had to get rid of some unnecessary items, you know, vehicles.
Yeah, you had
right?
to clean the closet.
We had
a
to
little
clean
bit.
the closet. We had to scrape. You know, we had to work. I had to work 2 jobs at a time just to keep up with the mortgage. But luckily, we have family to protect us, keep us together, because it was not an easy ride for a lot of us. People losing their homes, losing their jobs, foreclosures, short sales. It just became a common thing around 2009, 2010. So luckily, shout out to my wife. She stuck around, you know, been married. Shout out to my wife, 15 years married.
If she was there through the rough times.
Oh man, yeah. She goes, well, I didn't marry you for your money.
Yeah.
I said, well,
That's
thank
what mine
goodness.
tells me too.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, because I didn't have any at the time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, and I knew there would be a time when I can get back in the industry again. And those clients, this is my word for you. If you are in the market, you know, sit down with a professional that understands and just do it right this time.
Yeah.
Because it was just insane back in the day, you know, the wild, wild west days. And that's what we call it.
Well, yeah, because that's when we bought our first home, when you can fog a mirror and you were
Boom.
good.
I like that.
I mean,
that
that's
analogy
what it was.
is true. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we say it. I mean, we say it to be funny. Yeah.
You
You needed
qualify.
a pulse,
You got
right?
a pulse.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
We say it being funny, but truthfully, I mean, we were 19, 20 years old. We don't know what we we're doing. They happened to say, do this, and we got to, sign here, and here's some keys to a house.
And that was it. Yeah.
And that was it. And we
Yeah.
were like, what? Really? Okay.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's all it took.
That's all it took. But today's is a little bit different.
A little bit different guidelines. Yep.
And yet, it's still easy to get a house. It's still easy to get a mortgage.
Yeah.
It's still easy to get a no home.
Mm-hmm.
And there are still programs that help you get there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what I'm seeing right now in the marketplace, 2012, 13, full doc all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
W-2, tax returns,
Prove
pay
it.
set. Yeah. Prove it. Proof of rental income, good things of that sort. But now
But prices were lower.
prices were lower.
So,
Exactly.
full doc's fine
Mhm.
because you can qualify based on the two income
Right.
in a household.
Right.
Prices today, they don't match incomes.
They don't. They're not keeping up.
They're not keeping
Inflation's
up.
crazy.
Which is why the adjustment is coming. Honestly,
Yeah.
let's just cut to the chase. The inflation
Yeah.
on prices, appreciation on prices went too high,
Mhm.
and there has to be an adjustment because incomes don't catch up.
And that's a good thing for me. And that's a good thing for buyers too, right? I want to see a correction in the market, right? Because, I grew up in Mira Mesa and I know what those houses are worth, Now,
You gotta be careful because they're worth what
Yeah.
what a willing buyer and a willing seller agreed
true.
to, right?
so I take that back. But, real estate does appreciate, there's a saying, you buy and hold, right? You buy and hold. It's a long-term investment. So, but for buyers right now, obviously, don't get so caught up in, do I need to buy this price point? Stay within your means.
Right.
I never
And
want to.
that's always the crucial part when you talk to somebody. What can we afford to do for
Yeah.
you on a monthly basis?
Exactly.
And that is what you stick to. It's a 30-year fix. You're not shooting for an adjustable.
Right.
You're not doing anything crazy. No reverse amortization. No negative amortization.
Right.
No crazy stuff.
Correct.
Everything's straightforward. Your 30-year fix, 15-year fix.
No
whatever
surprises,
you're gonna
guys. No
No
surprises.
surprises.
Right.
It's gonna stay the same all the way through. If you can afford the monthly payment, you need to own.
Yeah.
Because over the long term, you're a winner.
That's right.
Could the price of the home drop in value? Yes.
Yeah.
It could.
Yeah.
But are you affording the monthly payment?
Right.
Then when the house bounces back, you're good to go.
Exactly. It's timing. Everything
You
is
haven't
timing.
really lost
You
anything.
don't lose anything. It's just a paper loss. It's not an actual loss.
Yeah.
Unless you're selling the home, you didn't realize anything.
Yeah.
It's still fake.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
That's
fake.
your ego getting at you a little
True.
bit.
Exactly. And that's the right point right there. You talked about payments will continue to be the same, right? So if you are a renter and you have that discipline, I've known clients have been paying the same rent for 7 years, 10 years. And the risky thing about that too is that you'll have a landlord that's just going to kick you out right away.
And that can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's happened to a few of my clients.
You have no
recently.
control.
You have no control.
You
of
have
that.
no control. So speaking of control, let's get you some mic time here. So we're rounding the end of the show here.
Okay. Wow.
So-
It's been 30 minutes?
Yeah, dude, time flies when you're having
Yeah,
fun.
having fun, guys.
All right, so talk to Facebook out there. Talk to YouTube. Yeah, you got two cameras on. You
Oh,
can
wow,
choose either
okay.
one. It don't
That
matter.
one.
Oh, it's this one. he
Choose
said.
this one right now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So tell them what's up. How do they get in contact with Mortgage Mike?
Hey, first and foremost, shout out to these business bros for having me on their podcast. My accent's coming out. Podcast. Hey, thanks for having me here today, guys. But again, my name is Mike Francisco, a.k.a. Mortgage Mike. I'm a local San Diego direct lender, prime lending, 15 years of experience. Love the opportunity to sit down with you, coach you, and just walk you through the entire process from point A to point Z. Yeah, there may be some bump rides, during the process, but just to know, I'm going to be here for you guys throughout the entire process till closing. Boom.
Sweet.
That's all I have.
Hey, by the way, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks,
We
gentlemen.
always appreciate it.
That was fun. Thank you so much.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
All right. Lastly,
guys.
who you gonna tag?
All right, guys. Well, it's going to be a surprise.
Oh,
It's too much pressure, but I want to shout out to all my, obviously my mom and dad, my family, my wife, my 3 kids for putting up with me. I love you guys for sure. I'm going to tag my partners as well too. Shout out to all my hardworking agents, prime lending, my family. And if I tag you, it's because I care about you.
Oh, all right.
You're part of that
So
circle.
basically,
So
he
we
tagged-
gotta wait to see. Yeah, he tagged.
Yeah.
he tagged everybody.
Yeah, he
I
tagged
think that's
everybody.
everybody. Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Awesome. All right. Well, if any of you guys out there want to be on the podcast, make sure you shoot me an email, hernan@csfirst.com or james@csfirst.com. You can find us on social at Business Bros Pod. Thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
That's all we got for you guys today. Peace.
Peace
Bye
out.
bye.
And I'm out. Facebook, we love you. Thanks for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Facebook.